today we are looking at 10 save ideas for Football Manager 2023. Let's take a look. Hello there and welcome back to Passion for FM. My name is Anders and today we're going to have a look at 10 FM23 save ideas that you can play right now on FM22 if you use the 2022-23 League Update database, which you will find linked in the description down below. Now, this video is a companion for an article written by Espen just about a month ago now, and it is going to look at all of the teams in this article in FM22, and we'll have a look at which teams you can play. So without further ado, we might be months away from Football Manager 2023, but now we can have a look at what might be your first save. Okay then, first up is AFC Wimbledon, and if you aren't aware, they are the Phoenix club that was formed in 2002 after the original Wimbledon upped sticks and moved to Milton Keynes. Now, they have been on a massive climb up the leagues for a long time, but they finally faced their first setback as last season, the season that's just finished. They were relegated from League One back down to League Two, but here we look. If we look at the season preview, they are one of the favourites to go straight back up with Doncaster. Obviously, with this, you can see that we've used the update and it's just got the year wrong in the top corner, but you can ignore that. Everyone is in the right league. So, Wimbledon, what are you going to do with them? They are a club that was on a massive rise, but since their relegation, you've still got the long-term objective. You still need to get them back into the Premier League, maybe even win the FA Cup like the old Wimbledon club did in 1988. But obviously, you need to just beat their rivals, MK Dons, get better than the MK Dons, and get yourselves up the league pyramid. So next up is our first trip to France and Bordeaux. And now for the first time in about 30 years, Bordeaux got relegated from the top flight, but they didn't go down one level. No, because of financial irregularities, the National Football Association have dropped them down to the third tier. So they are playing in the Championnat National, unless their appeal obviously changes things. But right now, that is where they're heading. If you look at the season preview, they are incredibly the favourites in this league. They're obviously a former League One side, or League Earned side, now in the third tier. So they have easily the best side. So provided the club doesn't go into administration and all your players leave or anything like that, it should be relatively easy to get promoted once again. You've got great facilities all around, so the task must be to get yourself back into the top flight, and there's going to be great youth development as well. So you've got to trust in youth and relive one of the greatest periods in the club's history and try and emulate the achievements of the 1990s. You've got to retain the League Earned trophy for the 7th and 8th times. That's what they did back then, and also compete in the Champions League and get yourself some regular European football. Okay, so we are going to the Netherlands next and to Tilburg, where we see the Tricolores Willem, who have finally been relegated from the Eredivisie. They have got some great facilities, by the way, so they should be well placed to go straight back up. They're a former three-time Eredivisie champion back in the 1950s and have been a mainstay in the Eredivisie since the late 80s, I believe, apart from a one-off season about a decade ago. But they have got some great legends in Dutch football, but they are well placed, as we've said. They are well placed to go back up to the top flight. They've probably got some good youth that you might want to use this as a youth challenge. Obviously, the likes of Jaap Stam, Frenkie de Jong, Virgil van Dijk, Mark Overmars, all been part of the club at some time, at some point in the past. So your challenge is to get them back into the top flight, get back to their championship-winning ways of the 1950s, and win some trophies. Get them back into European football and try and take over the Netherlands. So our next club is Derby County, back in England once again. Obviously, they were a big team that everyone played as in FM22, trying to get them back, or trying to stop them from getting relegated from the Championship. They've got incredible facilities for a team in the third tier, but obviously all of the administration and points deductions mean that they have been relegated to League One, and it's likely by the time FM23 comes out that they'll have another points deduction unless they can figure out their ownership, and they're favourites to go down quite considerably because they've got no funds, they've got no transfer ability, so they are up a creek without a paddle, essentially. But if a new owner does come in, either before the game comes out or during your playthrough, there could be quite a challenge to get back up to League One. You'll have money, you'll have the facilities, so League One should be, in theory, in 2 seasons, quite easy to get out of. And then once you're in the Championship, it's anyone's guess. But the goal has got to be to get this former club of the Premier League from the early 2000s, late 90s, back into the Premier League, and hopefully try and get some European football for the Rams as well. Our next step is in Italy as we go to Vicenza, who are a side who have not been in the top flight of Italian football since the turn of the millennium, but they have just been relegated from Serie B after going up the season before, and their near rivals Venezia are fan favourites on FM22, so why not give their nearest rivals a chance here on FM23? They're one of the favourites to go up from Serie C, and they've got a good squad, a decent, well, their training facilities are pretty good as well. Everything else, just about there, not bad for the level at all. But a former club of Roberto Baggio, obviously the 94 Ballon d'Or winner. So you've got some history. You need to get this club back into the top flight and hopefully challenge the elite in Italian football. We go to Germany next, and 1FC Kaiserslautern, who are now in the second tier of German football, the 2 Bundesliga. Obviously, they were in the 3 Liga last season, so they would have been another rebuilding challenge that a lot of people will have played on FM22, but that challenge is still there. This former giant of German football last won the Bundesliga back in the late 90s, and if you're a fan of football from the late 90s, you will always be remembering Kaiserslautern as a top side, but unfortunately they're not going to be a top side in 2 Bundesliga. According to the game at the moment, they're predicted to finish around about 16th and just about challenge, or be challenged for relegation. But they are a big side, they've got some good facilities, a good stadium. They've got all of the ingredients, apart from maybe you, to turn this side around and get them back to where they belong at the top of German football, and maybe get themselves back into Europe as well and challenge Bayern for the Bundesliga title once again. Next up is Spain and CF Intercity, who are from Alicante in the south of Spain. They were formed in 2017, so they are a brand new club, but they've got good facilities and a rich benefactor, underwriter, owner, so they have a bit of a sugar daddy situation going on. They currently find themselves in the 3rd tier of Spanish football, but they've got quite a few big teams knocking about them. In particular, Deportivo, who will be a real challenge to overcome if you want to get promoted from this 3rd tier up into the 2nd tier of Spanish football. But this is a team that is, or a club rather, that's got a lot of potential. Obviously, that sugar daddy owner could come in and pay a huge difference to your basically your rise up Spanish football, but you really could be the difference as well. So maybe this one is a great new save to try and get a unknown club, a very new club, up to the top of Spanish football. So we are once again back in the 3rd tier of French football, this time with AS Nancy Lorraine, obviously a former club of Arsenal legend Arsene Wenger. They've got great facilities. They've just been relegated from Ligue 2. But their facilities are probably Ligue 1 level, so they are going to be a pretty easy task to get out of the Championnat National, but they do have one big challenge, and that is Bordeaux, also relegated, this time relegated from the top tier, so they are probably a class above the rest of the league, but Nancy should be the 2nd best team in the league quite comfortably. They should be favourites for promotion. Obviously, this is a club with a rich history, obviously with Arsene Wenger they formed, and obviously Michel Platini also used to play for Nancy, but they've got a new ownership consortium who came in the early 2021, and they've got similar interests in Barnsley, FC Thun in Switzerland, Ostend in Belgium, so there's potential here for the club to quickly rise back up to Ligue 1, and that will be your challenge. You need to get back into Ligue 2 quite easily, really. You've only got to face Bordeaux, essentially, and keep the club together, the squad together, and get the club back into the top flight of French football and challenge PSG for the title. It's the 3rd tier of Portugal next, and a club with a lot of history in Belenenses, who I've probably pronounced wrong, but they are one of the few clubs in Portugal, aside from the big 3, who have won the Portuguese title. Obviously, formerly managed by Jose Mourinho as well, and they've got some great facilities. We'll cover their history in a second, but they are obviously now in the 3rd tier of Portugal. And looking at the season preview, we can see that they are not one of the favourites to go up. They sit in a mid-table, essentially, along with a lot of other clubs, so it's probably a bit of a crapshoot to see who will go up in this tier, but they do have a lot of history. If we cover their fierce local rivals, Belenenses, SAD, the history here basically is the club was split due to financial issues in 2012, and the SAD, the professional section of the club, kept the top flight position in Portugal, but the amateur section of the club got all the history and had to basically start from the 6th tier of Portuguese football and then out to 3rd tier, which means you can play them in FM23 and you can get them back into the top flight and continue that rivalry and see if you can maybe break into the top 3 in Portugal and get yourself another league title. The final team on this list is in Austria, probably a league you've not ever managed in, but it's FC Admira Wacker Modeling, who are a former club from the top flight in Austria. They are a team that have fallen on hard times recently. Only 5 years ago, they were playing Europa League football. They've got a very good, hot prospect of a striker in their squad, and they've got some great facilities as well. So they should be quite an easy task to get them promoted from the 2 Liga up back to the Bundesliga. They are odds-on favourite. A lot of the Media Dream 11 will come from this squad. They are a good side who have fallen on slightly hard times, but they should be one for you to get back into the top flight and get back into European football. And maybe it's a youth challenge, maybe it's a Build a Nation challenge. It's up to you, but this side will be a good side for you to manage on FM23. Just like all of the other teams in this list. So if you've got any suggestions of teams to manage on FM23 or maybe a final FM22 save, you can let us know in the comments down below. You can have a look at the article on the website, which goes into a slightly more detail than this quick video does. And please remember to subscribe here on Passion for FM and over on my own channel as well at Anderzbaz Gaming. I'd love for you to head over there and watch some videos as well and subscribe to my channel. And remember to head over to the website passion4fm.com. I've been Anderzbaz and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.